Hello and welcome to India's World. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has fallen back on cricket diplomacy to break the ice with Pakistan. The Modi government had suspended the dialogue with Pakistan after its High Commissioner met with Hurriyat leaders from Kashmir in the run-up to the Foreign Secretary level talks. By doing this, the government dampened the hopes for reconciliation that had been raised by Modi inviting Nawaz Sharif and other SAARC leaders to his inauguration on May 27th last year. The rules of engagement were sought to be changed with Pakistan. Under the new ground rules, Hurriyat leaders were not to be recognized under any circumstances as a party to the Kashmir dialogue between the two countries. It was also made clear that any violation of ceasefire on the line of control would elicit a punishing response from India. Much of this muscle flexing, however, seems to have disappeared after the elections in Jammu and Kashmir and after the visit of US President Barack Obama to India. Now, India perhaps wants to restart and reset the peace process with Pakistan. To discuss Prime Minister Narendra Modi's fresh peace overture with Pakistan, we have with us a very distinguished panel of experts. We have with us Ambassador Vivek, a distinguished diplomat. He retired as a secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs. He's been India's ambassador to Afghanistan, Myanmar and Thailand. And he was head of the Pakistan desk for a record number of 6 years in the Ministry of External Affairs. And we have with us my old friend, Mr. Seshadri Chari, a strategic affairs expert. He's head of the Bharatiya Janata Party's Foreign Affairs Department. And we have with us another friend, Mr. Tapan Bose, a peace activist respected in both India and Pakistan. He is the head of the India chapter of Pakistan-India People's Forum for Peace and Democracy and also the Secretary General of the South Asia Forum for Human Rights. I welcome all of you to this discussion. Vivek, let me begin with you. Why do you think Prime Minister Narendra Modi has made the sudden overture to Pakistan, calling Nawaz Sharif to wish him for the World Cup and also announcing in the process that Indian Foreign Secretary would be visiting Pakistan?
Well, I would like to think that some kind of assurance has been received from Pakistan with regard to the Hurriyat as not being projected as a party to the India-Pakistan dialogue in respect of Jammu and Kashmir.
Why would you like to think? Sartaj Aziz said that it was a mistake they made.
No, Sartaj Aziz had said that the timing was a mistake. Now, quite clearly, as far as I'm concerned, it's perfectly all right for the Pakistan High Commissioner or for our Hurriyat people to meet Pakistani people socially and personally.
Pakistani people or you mean Kashmiri people?
No, the Hurriyat meeting Pakistani people. They are Indian citizens. Right. Any Indian citizen can socially and personally, for personal reasons, meet Pakistanis. Okay. After all, there are intermarriages between Indians and Pakistanis. So this is perfectly in order. Okay. Where I think a line is drawn is that in India-Pakistan dialogue, there should be a third party. And the Pakistanis have always tried to project that by ensuring that whenever their leaders come here, they meet the Hurriyat. And that is
so you
always
think Hurriyat was the main issue, really?
To my mind, the Hurriyat, to me, the reason why the dialogue was called off was the Hurriyat. And I believe that was a genuine reason, and I believe that it was a correct decision taken by the Prime Minister at that step.
Okay.
Now, let me just add that if no assurance has been received, and if the Pakistanis either before the talks or before the visit of the Foreign Secretary, Mr. Jaishankar, or after the visit, project that the Hurriyat was somehow consulted before this dialogue took place, then it would leave me very, very uncomfortable, because then it would mean that Mr. Modi and the government has climbed down, which I don't think is a good thing.
All right. Seshadri, why do you think the Indian Prime Minister had to couch this overture in regional terms? Why did he have to let it be known that he called all the 5 regional countries which are participating in the World Cup, that Foreign Secretary Jaishankar is going on a SAARC yatra, he will visit all the SAARC countries, and that nothing specific to Pakistan? What I'm saying is, isn't it a very poor excuse for restarting a dialogue? Isn't it a timid way of trying to improve ties?
No, for two things. Let us put it this way. You know, successive Indian governments have always thought, and very rightly so, and this government is no exception to that we want a peaceful relationship with Pakistan. And that peaceful relationship is good for both the countries, more so for Indian economic development. Modi's emphasis has been not only economic development of India but also the economic development of the region, and India should be the natural leader of that economic development in the region. In that, SAARC becomes an important area of
Who
operation.
could disagree with that, Seshadri? I'm saying if you're convinced
Now-
of that, then take a
now-
bold move and say, give all the reasons you're giving and say, for these reasons, I want to improve ties with Pakistan.
No, it's not improving ties only with Pakistan. So we need a springboard to begin the dialogue process, and which we did at the time of his swearing in. All the neighborhood, the entire SAARC neighborhood was here. That was a good opportune moment to begin the talks. We began the talks with Bhutan, Burma, Sri Lanka, Nepal, every other country, including Pakistan. But it was as Ambassador very rightly put it. Pakistan vitiated the atmosphere. They put the spanner in the works by bringing in the Hurriyat angle. Okay. So now again, after having sent a very strong signal to Hurriyat, that to Pakistan vis-a-vis Hurriyat, we are in the process of beginning the talks again.
Okay. All right. Tapan, do you think the calling of the dialogue with Pakistan had become counterproductive and India therefore decided on this cricket bonhomie? Or so what do you think has prompted Modi to make these overtures?
See, begin with, let me put it, I am very happy that this is happening. I was most unhappy when Mr. Modi decided to call off. So whatever reasons and whatever pressures has acted to change the position from then, and also his September statement at the UN General Assembly, which indicated no talks with Pakistan till the terrorism. But what I think Vivek ji pointed out is a critical issue. And in a way, it sort of, if you look at China, Tibet policy, it has never allowed any Tibetan, input in any kind of dialogue on China.
So we're going to learn about foreign policy from China now.
I thought he's learning from it. Okay. I thought the position that if you do anything like talking to Hurriyat, is something that I will not tolerate, and it is...
okay, so you're agreeing with Vivek then?
On this, I agree that is what he tried.
All right.
Why he has gone back, there are many factors. Maybe American influence, maybe...
okay, so let me take the question of American influence to Vivek. Do you agree with those who said that the pressure, actually the nudging, let's say, not the pressure, came from President Barack Obama when he was here, and also before that from John Kerry when he came to India for the vibrant Gujarat summit? Isn't it coincidental that after these two visits, Mr. Modi sends his Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan to Islamabad to discuss the Turkmenistan-Iran-Pakistan-India pipeline, Turkmenistan-Pakistan-India gas pipeline, which had been, delayed in any case for 10 years and there was no urgency to go there?
Look, I have never believed in the government of India coming under pressure.
Not pressure, nudging. A friend telling you that, it'd be nice if you talked.
Even nudging. I have my own little experience, limited as it has been, has shown me that the governments and successive governments are patriotic and take decisions based on a situation which has evolved and keeping in mind India's national interests. Okay. So this pressure theory or this nudging or this hinting. Now, having said that, let's face it that the world feels a little more comfortable, and that includes investors and everyone, when there is dialogue, even if it's leading nowhere, between India and Pakistan on that old premise that Jojo is better than Wowo. I think it's fallacious. But this nudging theory,
you don't buy.
I don't buy because people say this. Now you accept it or not. It's not because they've said it that you accept it.
All right. We need to take a break at this point. We'll continue with this discussion in a bit. Don't go away. Welcome back. We're discussing Prime Minister Modi's fresh overtures to Pakistan for restarting the peace process. Now, Seshadri, do Prime Minister Modi's overtures to Pakistan have anything to do at all with government formation in Jammu and Kashmir?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Is it purely coincidental that you heat up the LOC in the run-up to the election? And probably the BJP gets some benefits from it.
We never heated up
Let me finish.
LOC.
And then once the election is over, BJP doesn't get a majority. It wants to form a coalition government with PDP. You need to help your potential ally, the People's Democratic Party in Jammu and Kashmir, to save face. So you say, oh, because of this, now we are opening peace talks with Pakistan again.
I don't think so. Peace talks with Pakistan have been going on between India and Pakistan.
Yeah.
Even before PDP was there, even before BJP won so many seats, even during the Congress government in Jammu and Kashmir, even during the NC government in Jammu and Kashmir. It has been an ongoing process. It has nothing to do with what happens in Jammu and Kashmir, or as you asked before this segment about the nudge from the US. This has nothing to do with this. At the most, what could be seen post-Obama visit and post-Kerry's visit to Pakistan and India also, there is an opening for India to get more engagement in Afghanistan post-US withdrawal. And that is one reason why it is important for us to engage with Pakistan also and convince Pakistan that India and Pakistan can both do a much better job in Afghanistan than
I don't want to
India
go into
doing it
Afghanistan at all. That's a
that
different issue.
Could be one of the reasons.
But you seem to
but otherwise, Jammu Kashmir election has absolutely
so
nothing.
Therefore you're suggesting,
in fact, that is one of the reasons. If that was so, we wouldn't be taking such a hard position against the Hurriyat.
Okay. Because Hurriyat doesn't participate in democracy. But anyway, forget that. Tapan, let me ask you this: is this government talking to Pakistan from a position of strength, having sort of shown that you would get adequate or more than adequate response if there's LOC violation? And we know of the incident of December 31st midnight last year when a Pakistani boat allegedly laden with explosives blew itself up or did not blow itself up while trying to enter India. So is it from a position of strength that this government is talking, or do you think good sense has prevailed for whatever reasons, including the reasons that Seshadri is listed, that you have to talk to your neighbors, it doesn't matter how difficult that neighbor is?
See, I see a contradiction between this, because the position of Mr. Modi is consistent with the position of RSS and the Hindutva group vis-a-vis Pakistan. And if you also look at Modi's Kashmir policy, it is interesting that he abused Kashmir, or he warned Kashmir only when he was Pakistan, only when he was visiting Kashmir, but not from other states and other, So that was definitely an attempt to create a greater constituency, and which is what in the election the BJP got. But what did it get? It's very clearly underlined the ethnic religious divide that we have always been talking about needs to be bridged in Kashmir. But on the other hand, this election strengthens that. So you have the Hindu-dominated Jammu, which has voted for BJP, and the non-Hindu areas. So post that, and it helped, all that. So my question is that when you're faced with the reality in Kashmir, that it is divided on religious lines, and you have in fact reaffirmed it through your electoral success, how do you go beyond this?
You don't get to ask questions on this program. I get to ask questions, you have to answer. My question was, I don't want to go to Jammu and Kashmir, please. I just want to ask you that is there a realization in this government that we need to deal with our difficult neighbors? That's the question.
I think it goes in his overall larger plan, Mr. Modi government's largest plan is to develop a relationship in the neighborhood, with all the states, that we are superior, there is an asymmetry, but we have to be together. So it is in that context, I think he's opening these dialogues. Because otherwise there was no need to send Mr. Jaishankar.
Asymmetry, I would agree, but superior, I don't know. But let me just change the subject a little bit, if you'll permit me, Vivek. Do you think that the Pakistan establishment's attitude to terrorism has changed after the attack on the military school in Peshawar on December 16th last year? And do you think their counter-terrorism strategy would also target those groups in Pakistan which have been targeting India?
No.
Nothing has changed?
Nothing has changed vis-a-vis India.
Okay.
Because the use of non-state actors, the use of proxy war, low-intensity war, is an inherent element of their security doctrine against India.
But doctrines can be changed. No?
It will not change because faced with a conventional inferiority, they are relying on a twin approach, nuclear weapons at one end of the spectrum and low-intensity warfare at the other end to keep you off balance. The infrastructure is entirely intact. They are now saying that, well, we can't attack all groups at the same time. But that doesn't mean that you allow the elite the full, absolutely full reign. The Hafiz Saeed roams around freely. There is no check on him. The Punjabi Taliban, who are not against the state, are given not only sort of allowed to be freely, to move freely, they are given protection. So I'm convinced that there has been no change as far as Pakistan's policy of using terror against India is concerned. It will be calibrated, but it will not be changed.
But there will be no sequencing or targeting of terrorists, that TTP first, those who are targeting Islamabad first, and then the other
We've
groups.
heard this hogwash from the Pakistanis ad infinitum. Let's not fall into this trap.
All right. Seshadri, do you think there's a danger that this government's Pakistan policy will become as incoherent as the previous governments? What would Mr. Modi do if, for example, there are again violations on the LOC is heated up, or there's a terrorist attack, or another explosive-laden boat comes? What will you do then? You'll break the talks again? So does it not mean that you need to move beyond ad hocism and personality-based policies towards Pakistan?
You know, there has been a long discussion on this for quite some time. It is very necessary to deal with Pakistan from a position of strength. One. Two, when we say we are to deal with Pakistan, there are three Pakistans. The political establishment, the rogue elements, and also the army, which is two sides of the same coin. And then there are other elements who neither fall into this group or that group, who have become a headache for them also.
Okay.
So if that is the case,
therefore, what are you saying?
We have to deal with the army, we have to deal with the ISI, we have to deal with all these.
How can we deal with the army and the ISI? We can only deal with the government of the day.
We have been dealing with them the way it has to be, they have to be dealt with. Pakistan thought they can get away with attacks in LOC. We said no. We put an end to it. They thought they could probably do another Mumbai attack on Porbandar during the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. We said no. We put an end to it. And let me correct your information. It was a explosive-laden boat which they themselves blew up. Anyway, we won't go into those details now, but I just wanted to set the record straight. So this is the kind of response that we have given Pakistan, and therefore there is a realization within the political establishment in Pakistan that there is an India which can respond differently to different angles.
Okay, quickly, Vivek.
No, that might be true, Mr. Chari, but the people who decide India policy is not the political
Fine,
establishment, it's the army.
I agree. There may not be a major monumental change in the way they look at India.
Okay.
They still think that we should be able to punish India through low-intensity war.
All right. Tapan, what should be India's attitude to the all-party Hurriyat conference? It's not as if Government of India has never talked to Hurriyat leaders. Individually, they've been talking in the past. So is it the position of India that Hurriyat can be an informal actor, one of the many actors in Jammu and Kashmir whose views can be taken into account occasionally, but only informally, but formally, it should not be seen that they represent the Kashmiri people?
See, this has been more or less the policy of all the government, that they have talked to Hurriyat, but we have talked to Hurriyat as a part of an Indian group. It's but the ground reality of Kashmir is different. The ground reality of Kashmir is that it is an international issue, like it or not.
India doesn't accept this.
No,
this
but
is not
you may or may not agree.
We don't
Let me clarify
that.
Okay.
The point is, it is, and you have allowed Hurriyat.
Please,
Pakistan agrees it's a bilateral issue.
Tapan, let me clarify that.
In what way is an Indian?
No, I want to clarify that.
Okay.
Look, the Hurriyat leaders have been going to America. They have been meeting.
This
with
is,
the US.
let me, let me clarify that. Please, let me clarify.
Government of India's position.
No, let me clarify.
Government of India's
No,
position.
1 second. There is a problem in Kashmir. And that problem is that there are people who are disaffected and the center has to talk to them. And that's perfectly all right. There's a problem of Kashmir, which is a problem of Pakistan holding on to our territory, which we have to resolve. Under Simla, we said we'll do it through peaceful means and on a bilateral basis. Now, the Hurriyat going and talking is like Indian NGO sort of people going and talking and putting their case.
Don't take it there. Don't take it
That
there.
has been
Don't
the
take it
position.
there.
And the wording of the Simla agreement is very vague. But in the Simla
Wording of
agreement,
the Simla
you agree
agreement
that
is
there is a
crystal clear on this. Now, come along, you are knocking the basis out of the Indian case. Come along.
Say that the issue has to be resolved.
Okay,
if there is no
disagree
issue,
on it.
No,
what is there to be
what is the issue? I've said the issue. It is Pakistani control of Indian territory.
You took
Pakistani control of Indian territory.
Fora, you took the issue to the international fora.
And you made a mistake, and in 1971 you said you'll do it bilaterally. So the matter ends.
That did not change the ground reality.
Of course, they changed the ground reality.
No, you see, if Hurriyat leaders can go and talk to the deputy, Secretary of State, and then they come back.
Any
and
Indian
then they go to
citizen
England,
can go and
why did you
talk
allow-
and vent his feelings
They did not
abroad.
go.
All right.
They did not go.
We've run out of time
As
on this
an NGO.
segment. You can agree to disagree on this. We need to take a break at this point.
there is
We'll be back
inconsistency.
again
No,
with
there's
this
perfect
interesting discussion in a
consistency,
bit. Don't go away. Welcome back. We're discussing Prime Minister Modi's fresh overtures to Pakistan for restarting the peace process. Vivek, if you calm down, let me ask you a slightly different
perfectly
question.
calm.
Okay. It's been reported that the Indian Foreign Secretary will put together a new structure for India-Pakistan dialogues. Can you tell us quickly about the structure of the composite dialogue, how it came about, and what needs to be changed and why?
Listen, the composite, let me begin. Earlier on, the dialogue was agendaless. The foreign secretaries met, if there was any, or other leaders met, if there was anything in particular, a group was set up and that used to take care of it. Then there was a hiatus in the dialogue in the 90s because of Benazir Bhutto. The dialogue resumed in 1997, early 97, and it took a year and a half to structure it. And finally, what emerged was the composite dialogue, which took care of certain issues between the two countries, a cooperative relationship, and also addressing humanitarian issues. Now, this dialogue has worked in fits and starts. I think the stage has come now for taking some of the issues out of it.
Which
like Siachen, for instance. Siachen, it's quite clear that that it's linked to Jammu and Kashmir, and I do not think that any Indian Prime Minister will say that
which other
Indian
issue?
forces.
Which other issue? We're running out of time.
No,
So.
Siachen is one of the main issues. Then I think certain other things should be clubbed together. Like there's a water thing, the Tulbul project, or
Vuller Barrage.
the Vuller Barrage, Tulbul. But there again, I think the Indus Waters Treaty is working, and I personally don't think that this needs to be addressed in that
Okay,
fashion.
so there is a need for change, and we'll see what
I
this change
think
is
yes.
like. Sheshadri, what do you expect would be the tangible outcomes of Indian Foreign Secretary's visit to Islamabad?
More importantly, instead of, excluding certain issues, I would rather say there is a need to include certain issues. And the most important element that has to be introduced in Indo-Pak talk is the economic interest. These two countries, we should realize, there is a realization in India vis-a-vis other countries of SAARC or even non-SAARC. But there has to be a realization within the political establishment in Pakistan that a deeper and a prominent engagement with India is in the best interest of the Pakistan-India economy
this is
and also
motherhood
the
and apple
regional
pie, but tell
economy.
me, what do you expect out of this visit?
I think this visit will pave the way and show to Pakistan of our sincerity in our approach.
Okay. Tapan, what is it that India wants to achieve with Pakistan? And do you think these objectives can be achieved as long as Pakistan's India policy, as Vivek pointed out earlier, is determined by the army?
That's a, stop.
No, so I'm asking you.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you say everything in Pakistan,
No, India
particularly
policy.
Pakistan's India policy,
Yeah.
is completely determined by the security perspective of the army, which of Pakistan, then, there is really no scope.
Okay.
Or in security perspective.
Yeah, there is no scope. Yeah, insecurity, security, whatever it is. But I think there is a need, that's very clear, whether it is national or international pressures and so on and so forth. Personally, as I said, I'm very happy the dialogue is being resumed for whatever it may be.
Okay.
But coming to it,
No,
I
we don't
think,
have time, so tell me quickly.
there are 3 points that he was talking about. I think the critical issue, which on Kashmir or whatever we ignore or we, couch over everything, that India-Pakistan dialogue has to give the water question, the water issue, a hell of a lot more important.
I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there.
But that's a separate
what are you
discussion.
saying?
You see.
That's a separate discussion.
No, it's not a
Tapan,
separate
I'll have to stop
discussion.
you there. No.
You take the water issue out of
I'll have to
Kashmir.
stop you there because that's a separate discussion. I agree it's an important subject, but there are differing perspectives in India and Pakistan on that. I don't want to go there. We've got a minute left. So, Vivek, tell me that do you think India can hope for a rapprochement with Pakistan at a time when Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif remains extremely weak and the person who's gained power at his cost is his namesake, the Army Chief General Rahil Sharif?
I am a little pessimistic about the India-Pakistan interaction as of today. The Pakistani army is under great pressure, but it has to show its people that it is still macho, and the only way it can show it by appearing to stand up against India as it has traditionally done.
So you're saying nothing will be achieved?
I am a little pessimistic.
Well, I don't think everybody on the panel is pessimistic, but we've run out of time. I'd like to thank my guests Tapan, Bose, Seshadri, Chari, Ambassador Vivek, Katju for participating in this discussion. That's all we have for you today. We'll be back again next week as usual. Till then, goodbye and thanks for watching.